Gonna make the profiles boom, 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 boom. What it is, you already know what it is. Gunner's profiles, as you can see by the thumbnail, the perro chatos, the Fresnal, right? The Bulldogs. We're going to talk about the Bulldogs, but we're going to talk about one particular Bulldog, someone who I consider a friend. Everyone always asks me the question, who was the baddest Bulldog you were ever incarcerated with? And I was incarcerated with a lot of badass Bulldogs. You know, Phantom is one of them. And definitely you guys know his story, or you know of him on the MSNBC. You've seen his story. And you've seen him on YouTube. I actually interviewed him. I know Convex Perspective interviewed him. A lot of different individuals interviewed him. And he has a story to tell. Now, he's a bad dude. What I consider a bad dude is someone that you don't quite want to be settled with. Someone who has a reputation that precedes him. You know, when you hear about this individual, you automatically know he is not the one. He's not the one to be joked with, played with, called out of his name, or anything of that nature, because he'll get off where he's mad at. That means immediately. That means indubitably. That means menudo style. He'll handle his business, right? But there's been several perro chatos that I've been locked up with. Now, I particularly wanted to focus on the Bulldogs because I've met a lot of hardcore convicts, a lot of badass dudes around the way, from the south to the north. Individuals that are like monsters, scary guys. And when I say scary, I mean scary to other people. People are scared of them. They're very intimidating, whether it's the tattoos that they have, the size, the corazon, however they carry themselves, the way they present themselves. And these are very highly intelligent individuals. A lot of them are. Some ain't, but most are. You can always see they're calculating. Their antennas are fucking flapping in the wind. The wind's blowing. They're definitely up to par in what they're doing, and they know exactly what's going to happen. And you, as an individual seeing this big old monster, know exactly what's going to happen. Now, I've met guys of all shapes and sizes, small little skinny dudes with lentes on, without a tattoo on their body, and they're the most dangerous criminals you'll ever come in contact with. Bad individuals. Like I said, there's always going to be someone bigger and badder, or smaller and badder. You just never know. One never knows, does one. But what I do know in particular is I did a lot of time with a lot of real down-ass individuals that are known and some that are not known. Well, this Bulldog I wanted to talk about is about the name Brindle, the College Street, Fresno Bulldogs. I remember first running into him. He had a very intimidating manner about himself. His mannerisms, his stature, the way he walked around the particular yards, he just was different. You know, he wasn't the one to be fooled with. Now, I knew at the same time, Fresno Bulldogs, I had never, since the split, back when I was young, seen eye to eye with too many of them. You know, I was cool and I respected them. They respected me, and that was that. We knew that at any point in time we'd get off. Hey, if the funk was on, the funk was on. And the funk was always on with the Bulldogs, because everyone knows this group to be a highly, basically a renegade group. You know, anyone can get it. They're taking on all and anyone that wants that smoke. Now, there's a lot of individuals that say the Bulldogs aren't about that business. They definitely ain't. You know, they ain't trying to see anybody. And that's furthest from the truth. I've said it many, many times before. They're definitely a group to hold their own and to be respected as such. You got to respect motherfuckers that are still around after so many years. But this guy in particular used to walk that yard, man, with his head held high, and was a vicious looking guy. You know, he had tattoos all over his chin, his face, his head. And he was the type of dude, man, you just didn't typically just walk up to unless you wanted some smoke. Because that's the persona. That's the way he looked. That was the image that he threw out there. But I was furthest from the truth. Now, he was a bad dude. And I consider him one of the baddest Bulldogs I ever ran into based on his mind. Not these. I'm sure he had these. I didn't even get to witness these. Well, I did one time, so again, I'm going to tell you that story. But this right here, his mind state, the way he carried himself, the way he acted, the way he was around his homeboys and around other people, the respect factor, was a very respectable dude, and someone just looking into his eyes you knew you couldn't play with, couldn't joke around. You know what I mean? He wasn't fronting. He was really about that. He was trying to do his time, do it comfortably, but was about that smoke. If you wanted that, he definitely would present you with that. Facts, right? So I remember I'm walking around this yard, and I see him from a distance, and I'd seen him. You know, I'd seen him from time to time. Never had a chance to conversate with them. Well, I actually was doing gym living with another Bulldog. This yard right here was a 50-50 yard, whereas the Norteños were not functioning under certain politics, but we're still about that, and there happened to be Bulldogs on this yard. Okay, now some of these Bulldogs were not really in the mix like that. Some were. You know, I can't tell you about their status because I never asked. But one thing I can tell you is they were there. That's 100% fact. So I happened to get real cool with this perro chato, this Bulldog that was actually in the gym with me. He used to cut hair. And he used to tell me, "Hey, you ever met my homeboy Brindle? He's out there on the yard. That's a cool-ass homeboy. I've known him my whole life. I said, nah, I never had the privilege of being introduced to him. He said, hey, next time we go hit the yard, Holmes, I'll introduce you guys. He'll like you because you're hella funny, bro, and he's hella sad here. You guys are, the mix is real. And definitely that's what happened, man. We hit it off from the first day we met. I shook his right side, tried to hit him with the dog. Don't hit him with the dog pole. How about one of these, right? And it was all good. It was all love. We ended up becoming real close, real cool, man. The best of friends on that yarda. You always have a taita when you're locked up. Someone who, man, hey, you guys are on that same level. You're thinking what he's thinking. You're thinking what I'm thinking. Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking. I think I'm thinking what you're thinking. What are you thinking? I don't know. What are you thinking? We're thinking the same thing. That's usually how it goes. Guard! What? I think we're thinking. Yeah, you motherfuckers don't think enough, though. That's the problem. Anyways, it was like that situation with me and this guy. He started me telling war stories about Fresno, and I had heard a lot of stories over the years about Fresno. So I knew his stories to be true in facts because some of the people that he placed at certain areas and certain parts, I knew these guys personally. Vatos like Spell from Fresno. Vatos like Pepster from Fresno. You know, vatos like Little Legs and Nuns and several others, Little Inez. And I knew these guys, K9 to the north side, Kilo from the north side. I knew these guys, you know, personally. So just to trip out for him to tell these stories was like, okay, all right. You know, I could put faces to places, and it was just a good dude, man. I used to tell my war stories. We used to chop it up, laugh. Every time I hit that yada, he hit that yada. Eventually, man, he comes to do some gym living with me, man, and we're cool. Everyone used to say, damn, is it a Merced and a motherfucking Fresno thing? Because I had a few homeboys from my town. We used to post up, kick back. We had our own little table. And, of course, him, being my taita, was always right there. And some of his Perro Chato homeboys, you know, his camaradas would come kick it. It was all canalismo. It was all love, man. We had a common understanding that we backed their play of some funk cracked and they backed our play. And that's just how it was on this yard. Remember, I say every yard is different in prison. You know what I mean? You're going to have your 50-50 yards where some guys are doing it, some guys ain't. You're going to have general population yards where everyone's trying to do it, but they're usually on lockdown because of the politics and because, you know, the placas like to keep them on lockdown to kind of keep it under control. Then you're going to have your SNY yards where vatos are running wild and doing whatever they does, cuz, right? And that's just how it is. The makeup of the yards is different, but prison is prison. So one day, me and this individual, he's the big Pruno guy. He's the one that laced me up. He taught me everything I know about Pruno. I see him. He's always having nice kitchen, nice clothes. I said, damn, must be nice. I ain't got familia sending me money like that. Not that they wouldn't. I just never asked. See, I'm a man. I'm a grown man. And I'm not going to call my jefito, Mom, it's cold. I need a sweater. Can you send me some slingshots and stock too? And the new pair of Nikes? Nah, I don't need all that, right? Jefita, keep what you got. That's good. The struggle and strife is real. I'll give me a jailhouse hustle. You know what I mean? I'm a hustler. Hey, I'm a hustler, homie. You a customer, crony. I got some dirt on my shoulder. That's it. Dust it off for me. Like that, right? That's exactly what I was on. And he was a hustler too. And he told me, nah, I ain't got people sending me bread like that. I mean, he had a little bit of bread. He was like, shit, I be selling this Bruno and shit, allegedly doing my thing. So I said, I'm trying to see what that be like. Can I see what that be like? He gave me the recipe upon recipes, man. We were booming and bangling out there, man. The only thing was sugar. And of course, both of us worked in the kitchen, so we had the sugar game on lock. And that's where I got to see him get violent and vicious. And this is where he earned my respect as not only being a good friend, but one of the most vicious perro chatos I ever encountered, just based on the way he handled this. So we're in the kitchen. You know, we're working in the kitchen, and there's paisas in there with us. There's a couple Southsiders that they're functioning, doing their thing. And I think these Southsiders were not functioning. They weren't active, right? But I thought they're either ex-Southside. I don't know what they were, but there's about that 13 on them, right? Anyway, so they're right there because I know the Pedro Chatos and the fucking Southsiders were funky and it would have been on site. So at this particular place, there was no active Southsiders. It was non-active Northerners, non-active Southsiders. The only ones that were active there were the whites and the blacks and the paisas, but the paisas were just programming. Others were there too. They had a strong carro. They were doing their thing. That's exactly the makeup of this place. So we're chilling, right? We're kicking back in the fucking cocina. And he was like the lead cook. Whereas I ain't gonna lie, you wanna hear the truth? The wind's blowing. I did the dishes, man. I was the dish guy, right? Lowest on the motherfucking totem pole. At least I wasn't wiping off tables, that's it, right? I was doing dishes. So I was scared. And I was fucking, these hands look like onions. So I was scared. Hey, there's a lot of dishes to be washed on yourself, Frank. I'm fucking retired, right? I wanted to retire. But because I had juice with the homeboy and he was the lead cook, man, I was able to wiggle up out of that job a lot. You know what I mean? Put the black guy on there. Put the black guy on there. Why you gotta be black? Shit. Once you go black, you might go to the back, right? Go over there. Anyways, I was always trying to hustle to get someone else to do my highway where I go just post up and eat in the main kitchen. Anyways, we're kicking back. We're doing our thing. We had a nice smooth hustle. We'd get these bundles of sugar and then we'd shoot them out to homeboys to take them back. Some of them would get popped at the door because anyone who's been locked up in prison knows they do random body searches. You know what I mean? They're looking for pedazos, whatever they can, contraband. So you see, when you go outside, there's apples everywhere, oranges. Vatos got busted. They got popped. Pieces of chicken. Vatos are looking at that chicken like, damn, bro, that shit would be good in a sopa right about now. But a lot of people do make it through because it's very random. It's like 1 out of every 5 or 10. So you got to kind of get the pattern, the rhythm down. Okay, look, you look through the thing, the searching vato right there. Sasuke, toma, take that. He passes by. Walk on by. Everyone would get their little clavo, their little issue of sugar or whatever. We gave them a little deodorant one time for their mind. But they would bring us these big bundles of sugar back. We'd lose out of 10, we'd lose 3 of them. So we had 7 bundles. We're able to make a few pitchers. We fill up Pepsi bottles. That's $100 because we used to turn it into white lightning. Like, yeah, don't worry about what we did. We did it though, right? We're making feria. The winners were me and the perro chato. Hey, combined. We combined our forces. I said we couldn't be stopped. I was like, this is the old school. Notice how I did that? I'm used to jacking off. This is old school, right? So anyways, trip out. This particular day, there was this vato in there who I believe was an ex-Southsider, man. And he wanted to get in the mix. He would always ask us, hey, I see you guys passing out sugar. You know what I mean? Give me that recipe, homie. I want to just do something here. We're like, nah, we're not going to step on our own toes. There was already gavas out there, white guys, you know what I mean? Sprinkle the woods in, brother, that were selling their wine. So we're not going to fucking put more people on, homes, to step on our toenails. So that's good. We like our toenails right intact where they are. You know what I mean? At least unless you're boning a bad torta and one falls off. I'll tell that story later. But anyways, this is exactly how it was. And the vato started to hate. You can see the envy, the disdain, the distaste in his fucking whole dental for us, right? But he wasn't going to say nothing or do nothing because he knew if he did that, Sasuke, there's going to be trouble. There was going to be big trouble, little China. Vato was going to pop his air balloon, right? Sasuke was going to let all the helium out of his chest bone. That's just what it was. Well, on this particular day, Brindle comes up to me. He's like, hey, fool, the chick won't give me no fucking sugar. We had a free staff back there. So to what degree of free staff? That's why I can't tell you what prison it was. She used to let us, wiggle while we work. A little peanut butter, a little sugar, never hurt nobody, you know what I mean? And a little mamon, never hurt nobody. I wasn't on the receiving end of the mamon, you know what I mean? The homie was. But anyways, without saying too much, let's just say that she turned the key on us and was like, Charlie, man, someone's in here telling. We already knew who it was, right? So we approached him in a vicious and violent manner, like, hey, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? You hating on us? And he was like, no, I ain't hating on you. I said, fuck that, homes. Boom, boom, boom. The homeboy Brindz did his flight thing, right? He came in for landing, right? Slept that vato and continued to violently do bad things to him. Okay? So I got a couple little kicks in there. Fuck this other vato, right? That was it. Placas come. They're looking at us. Brindle takes the, hey, I did that, right? He goes to the oil. Bam, I go back to the building. I'm like, fuck, man, that's the homeboy right there. Now vatos are looking at me on the yacht. They're like, you ain't shit, huh, without that big ass bulldog to back you up. I'm looking like shit. I got this big old perro chato too to back me up. Big old pedazo. You know what I mean? I named the motherfucker Rick Rock, right? Was had. Anyways, vatos ain't really tripping like that. But, vatos, there's some questioning going on around. There's some whispers. And I'm thinking, damn, I'm going to get some metal put in me, man. I got to watch out what I do. So anyways, I'm kicking back and I'm on my way to chow when I get pulled out to get searched. They ain't got nothing on me, man. That shit is tightly secured or loosely secured. One never knows does one, but it was secure. Anyways, it was where it needed to be when the lieutenant, who was a female at this particular prison, pulls me to the side and she tells me, hey, you know what I mean? I got a lockup order for you. We're going to take you to the hole right now. And I said, why? What did I do? Now I'm sweating motherfucking bullets because I got a big ass motherfucking pedazo on my ass. And various other items. And I'm like, oh, hell, and I can feel the fucking phone ringing in my shit. I'm like, oh, no, right? My old lady's calling me like, well, you're probably talking to someone else. Nah, I'm getting jammed up right now. So anyways, she was like, I got a lockup order. And I said, hey, look, this is all I ask. Can I go back to the gym and put my property away? Can I tie it up in bags myself? You guys can take me the oil. I ain't tripping. She was like, if you go get off on someone, I said, no, I promise. I was like, I ain't even going to go to dinner, eh? And I'm hungry. I'm going to go back. I'm going to put my shit and then bam, come get me. Hey, for some reason, it's him. It's him again, right? They let me go back to the gym. I fucking, slid it. That motherfucker, I don't care. Whose bed? To what degree of whose bed it lands under? I don't care, right? Phone. So it's good. Come on, lady. Smelling like shit. Hey, fuck, it stinks. Hey, trip out. Yeah, I'm going to the hole right now, hey? Uh-huh. I didn't even do... Fuck, you stink. I didn't even do nothing. Hey, I gotta let you go. I'll call you later. Click. Homeboy, hey, here's that. Damn, fool, this shit got shit all over it. Well, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. Sticky situations. Anyways, they come cuff me up, get me up out of there. I tie my property up good. They take my property. We're going to the oil. I'm asking her what the lockup order is. She's not letting me know, right? I'm thinking, damn, what did I do? Well, of course, you know what time it is, man. This individual on the yard that got stopped, the stompalization happened to his head. He's telling them that I was involved too, and that I'm making a plot to stab him, and this, and that. And really, I did have a piece, but my plot wasn't to stab him. I was for self-preservation, for protection. It is what it is. Anyways, I get in the oil. My boy Brindz is right there. We're chopping it up. And I always respect him for being the most gangster motherfucker because, like I said, he took flight, didn't hesitate, was a real G, was an ex-convict, was a convict, not an ex-convict at that point. He is now. But was a convict about, you know, there was a convict code there. You know, ain't no telling, ain't no doing this, ain't no doing that, man. Just get straight off, get straight to it. Doesn't matter what type of fucking yard or setting this is, man. Handle it, right? It's trip. Fucking me and him get cool. And I've told the story before about some fucking white Crip that started woofing on me, right? I don't even know if he was a Crip, to what degree of Crip. But he was definitely on some chiruju shit in there. He got to woofing on my celly. My celly and him got to woofing. I don't bump baking soda breath on the doors. He says, you and your celly can get it. I said, okay, well, let's go get it on the next yard. Eventually, he comes out to the yard. It took about 2 weeks. And when he finally did make the yard, my boy Brindz is out there. And I proceeded to get off where I was mad at as soon as he came. But as soon as he was uncuffed, it was on and cracking. And I remember my boy Brindz was looking at me like, you want me to get in? I was like, I got this one-on-one, right? Needless to say, after I handled my business, I heard, man, Brindz beat him up anyways. You know, when he ended up going back to the yard. Me, they separated his yards. They put me in a different yard. He ended up going to that yard. He got beat up every time he went or got picked on heavily. This was a homeboy I respected. I respect him even to this day because not only do I respect him as being the most vicious and violent bulldog I ever met, because he was one that I seen that was down about his business. And there's been other ones, man. Shout out to Dreamer from Corcoran Bulldogs. You already know what it is. That you don't want to see that vato. That vato's different. That vato's about, he wants all that smoke. I know. I got scars all over me. He wants all that smoke, right? But I commend these gentlemen, especially Brindle too, for getting out, getting a good highlight, taking care of their familia, and being real men, true to themselves. You know, never conform to what other people wanted them to do, never denied what they were or what they are, homes, but we're proud men that are doing the right thing for their familias. Hey, that's what it is. That's what a hard motherfucker is to me. A hard motherfucker to me, and the hardest dude I met ain't the one that's in there doing all the time, stabbing everyone. Yeah, that's the normality of that is real. The hard ones are the ones that come out here and pay your bills, your rent, put on your fucking boots, go to work. That's hard, homie. It ain't easy. Believe me, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone has the motherfucking fortitude to handle that business. Everyone's trying to hustle and trying to make a bag off the next man's sweat of his brow. Ain't that right, Adam 22? That's what he does, right? He doesn't cheat. I can't hate. I'm just saying, though. Anyways, shout out to my boy Big Brindz, man. College Street, you already know what it is. Shout out to the Fresno Bulldogs for producing a motherfucking member of society like that. Someone who's with the business, but is with his own family business. That's what that is. And you already know, man, for those that sleep on the Bulldogs and those that think that they're all suckers, man, or they're all punks, and they're not with that program, you'll be gravely mistaken. They definitely are, man. Any group, any Mexicano, any brown person, and even the Woods, brother, right? And the brothers, man. Everybody has hitters. Everybody has bullshitters. Everyone has quitters, man. Them dudes right there, pretty much almost all of them that I met, man, were with that business. Now, I've met some corny characters from everywhere. But they're not, you don't even speak on them because they don't get that shine. Que no SPM? No shine. And that's just what it is. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you boost move with a purpose. I just wanted to tell that little story, put some shine on my boy Brindz, man. You know what it is. College Street, real talk, gang, bang, bang. This is the gun, man. That's a profile of my boy Brindz. You know what that do. The gun.